As an international entrepreneur and digital nomad who lives and does business in multiple countries around the world, I need to deal with lots of different currencies, lots of different banks in different countries, which can lead to a lot of problems with exchange rates and foreign currency fees. So over the past 2 years, through trial and error, I have crafted myself a system that allows me to get my foreign currency fees almost down to zero. And in this video, I'm going to reveal this system to you so that you can simply copy it. So word of disclaimer, all of this will always be very dependent on where you live, where your business is set up, what currencies you need to deal with, things like this. And now I am a UAE resident primarily, and I mainly deal in US dollars, as in I receive payments from my customers in mostly US dollars. So if you are a UAE resident in a similar position to me, you can just copy this system. This should be the most optimal one. But even if not, I'm going to give you the principles so that you can apply these same kind of things and look out for the same things that I have looked out for to save a ton on these fees. Now, the first thing to talk about is an app called Wise. Now, Wise is an app that anyone who in any kind of way deals with money across borders should download right away, because it's just a no-brainer. Wise essentially revolutionized the business of just sending money in different currencies, because a big problem you're going to run into if you're sending money from a bank in, let's say, Finland to a bank in the UK, for example, which I had to do a lot when I was sort of living between Finland and the UK, is that the exchange rates that these normal banks charge for these international bank transfers are going to be exorbitant. So what Wise allows you to do is save a ton on the fees when you're specifically sending money between pretty much any pair of two currencies. So for a lot of my personal dealings, when I need to send money across, let's say, a bank that I still have in Finland to a bank in the UAE, I'm going to use Wise, and here is how it works. And we can see here that, let's say I'm sending 1,000 euros to dirham. Depending on how you pay, you can pay with a debit card, which is going to send it instantly. There's going to be an 8.6 euro fee. But what I usually do is just choose a manual bank transfer, which is going to have no extra fees, and the only fee they're going to charge is less than 10 euros. Whereas if you were to send this with a regular bank, it would probably be around 50 euros or something like that. If you want to use Wise, I'm going to have a referral link down below. I think you get a free transfer of like $500 or something like that. So if you're going to open Wise and you don't have an account yet, first of all, what are you doing? You need to open this account. And second of all, you might as well use that link to get that free transfer. Now, there's a few big cons with Wise, and the big one is that I have heard a lot of reports that if you're sending very large amounts of money, Wise have basically just either locked people's money, or money has completely disappeared. Like Wise have just completely lost it. And then, like, I had a friend who had a $50,000 or something like that they sent using Wise, and Wise just completely lost the money somehow. So they had to get lawyers involved that like try to find the money or something like that. There have been some reports that I've seen on Twitter of things like this happening, accounts being frozen when it's too much money or something like that. So that is something to be careful about. So I would use Wise for like smaller amounts. I don't know exactly what is it too big of an amount, but if you're sending very, very large amounts, if possible, I would perhaps look into something different. So that is what I use for a lot of my personal use. Now, what about my business? So first of all, you can open a business account as well within Wise. For UAE businesses right now, there is a waiting list. I'm currently on that waiting list myself. But for myself, because I receive US dollars, I have actually decided to open a US LLC. So it's a separate legal entity, a US based business, which allows me to receive money in a US bank account. Now, I made a full video on why I did that. It's slightly complicated, but essentially, for example, Stripe, which is the payment process that I use when I sell my online courses, simply works better for a US-based business. They have much smaller decline rates, and there are no tax implications for this because it's a pass-through entity, and if you're a non-US resident, you don't have to pay any US tax. Again, you can watch my other videos for all the details on that. And then what I do is in my UAE business, there is a bank account called Wheel Business, which is the bank account that I recommend every UAE business opens, that allows you to have US dollar accounts. And the great thing here is that Mercury, which is the bank account that I use for my US LLC, allows international wires with no fees. And Wheel Business, the US dollar account, also allows you to receive international wires with no fees at all. And then what I can do is within Wheel Business, I can simply convert those US dollars into dirhams, which is the currency that I then eventually pay to myself. Let's say when I pay my salary or dividends or something like that. And the exchange rate within Wheel Business is actually extremely extremely good. It's not quite the real exchange rate, but it is very close to it. Now, what about spending money abroad? When it comes to getting cash, what you want to look for is a debit card that allows you to withdraw money overseas with either no fees, which would be obviously excellent, or with a flat fee per transaction. A lot of cards will charge a percentage fee, but if you're withdrawing large amounts, which you probably will be, this is most likely going to end up being more expensive. For example, you could withdraw money with this Wise debit card. So Wise will also give you a debit card, which allows you to spend money in the local currency, which can also, by the way, be a really good option. And what they do give you is a free transfer. Here in Malaysia, it will be up to 1,000 ringgit, which is like $200. You can get that free withdrawal abroad. So you should absolutely use that. But beyond that, they're going to charge a percentage-based fee, which in the long run, when you're withdrawing a lot of money, is almost certainly going to be more expensive than if you had a flat fee, which is what I have in my debit card that I use. But now I have also found out that within Emirates MBD, which is the main bank that I use in the UAE, if you have a premium banking account, you can actually get free foreign currency withdrawals abroad. So I'm currently in the process of transferring my account to that premium banking so that in the future I can just have free withdrawals abroad in any country that I'm in. What about spending money with your card abroad? Well, here again, you're going to want to look at the percentage foreign currency transaction fees for your credit card. What I have found as a UAE resident, there are a couple of things you can do. There's one card, the Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank Traveler Card, that advertises no foreign currency exchange fee, but that's a bit of a lie because they will actually charge a 1% conversion fee that they just don't really tell you about. But if you actually do the conversion, there ends up being a 1% fee. And this is a card that I don't recommend because the customer experience with ADCB is completely horrendous, and the app experience on the mobile app is just the worst app experience I've ever seen in my life. The next option is the Emirates MBD Skywards Infinite credit card that basically gives Emirates points for all your purchases. It's my main credit card that I use when I'm in the UAE, and when you're spending abroad, you get extra points, but they do have a 3% foreign currency fee, which is quite hefty. And I have calculated that based on how you redeem your points, like if you redeem your points for first class flights, usually what it will come out to is that it's almost like net zero. So the extra points will sort of cancel out the foreign currency exchange fee. And the third option that I now use mostly is the WEO personal credit card. When you're spending abroad with this card, you will get 2% cash back, but there will also be a 2% foreign currency exchange fee. So basically those two cancel each other out. So you always get essentially net zero. So essentially you're spending money abroad for completely free, and it's just very easy. You don't need to worry about how to convert points or anything like that because it's just literal cashback that gets paid to your bank account at the end of each month. And again, another option is to use the Wise debit card. I haven't used it too much, but if you're somewhere else or you don't have access to options like this, then that can be an option, although they do have, I believe, a 0.8% currency exchange fee that they are going to charge, but that is probably going to be cheaper than a lot of credit cards. So what you want to do is look for whatever is the cheapest option in your country, wherever you are. What about investing abroad? So as a UAE resident, I use the platform called Interactive Brokers that allows me to invest in US dollars or pretty much any currency that I want. The cheapest way for me to get money on the discount in US dollars is to use the WEO Personal Bank. Within that, I can transfer dirhams into US dollars at that same very good exchange rate that I talked about before. Then I can wire money in US dollars to Interactive Brokers, and there is a flat fee of $15.75, no percentage fee. Again, you want to avoid percentage fees usually if you're sending a large amount in things like this, and this is what I have found to be the cheapest way to do this. By the way, if you're a UAE resident, Interactive Brokers is probably the platform that you should use, and I'm also going to leave a referral link down below for you to open an account there. I believe you can get up to $1,000 for completely free depending on how much you deposit. So if you want to open that account, then you might as well use that link. I'm going to leave the links to all the products, all the banks and things like this that I've talked about down below in the description. If you want to see a more comprehensive breakdown for banking and investing in the UAE, what are all the banks that I use, not just abroad, but within the UAE, what are the credit cards that I use, then I actually made a full guide, which you can watch right here. That is going to give you all the details that you need. So go watch that video next, and I'll see you in the next one.